The battlefield and the Plea sun was setting behind the mountains, casting a red light across the broken battlefield. The ground was covered in ash, metal, and bodies, both human and alien. Smoke rose from crushed machines, and the air was thick with heat and silence. The war between humans and the alien warriors had lasted many years. Most soldiers had grown cold. Mercy was forgotten long ago. Leo stood quietly, holding his weapon tight. His armor was scratched and half burned, but he was still standing. He had lost his team earlier in the day. An ambush had taken them by surprise. Only Leo survived. Now he moved through the ruins alone, searching for a signal, a safe zone, or even just a reason to keep walking. Then he heard something, a soft sound. Like breathing, he turned quickly and aimed his rifle toward the broken wall ahead. Behind it lay a body tall, silver-skinned, and armored in deep blue. The enemy, one of them. An alien warrior. Leo stepped forward slowly, gun raised. The alien moved, her head lifting slightly. She was injured. Deep cuts ran along her arms. Her helmet was broken, showing part of her face. She looked young, though Leo couldn't tell her exact age. Her violet eyes met his, and she didn't move. Instead, she reached her hands out, not to fight, but to beg. Her voice was weak, but clear. "Don't end me, human. I'll serve you however you wish." Leo froze. He didn't expect that. He had faced dozens of their kind before. None had ever begged. None had shown fear. They were always brutal, fearless, and silent in defeat. But this one was different. She was bleeding, shaking, but alive. And she was asking him for life. He stepped closer, rifle still aimed. She didn't flinch. Instead, she lowered her head, dropping her weapon completely. It wasn't a trap. She truly wanted to live. His orders were clear. No alien was to be taken alive. They were enemies, dangerous. His leader said they would never surrender, that they were monsters. But here one was on her knees, broken, and pleading not for power or revenge, but for mercy. Leo looked around. No one was near. No drones, no cameras. Just him and her. He didn't know what made him do it. Maybe it was the way her voice trembled. Maybe it was how tired he was of all the killing. Maybe it was the simple truth that she looked more like a person now than a monster. Whatever it was, Leo slowly lowered his weapon. "You'll do what I say?" he asked quietly. She nodded without hesitation. "I don't want to die. I'll follow you. Just let me live." Leo stared at her for a long moment. Then he reached down and helped her to her feet. She leaned on him, weak and unsteady. Her armor was heavy, so he helped her remove the chest plate. Underneath, she wore simple black cloth, now stained with blood and dirt. "We can't stay here," Leo said. "Others will come." She looked up at him. "Where will we go?" He didn't have an answer. But he knew he couldn't leave her here. They moved together, slowly, through the rubble. Each step was hard for her, but she didn't complain. Leo guided her through broken buildings and down into the remains of an old bunker. It was dark and quiet, hidden below the earth. He had found it the day before while searching for cover. Now it would be their shelter. Inside, he laid her down on a blanket made from old cloth. She closed her eyes, breathing deeply. "You need rest," he said. "I'll look for food and water." She grabbed his hand before he could leave. "Thank you," she whispered. Leo didn't respond. He only nodded and stepped outside, unsure of what he had just done. As night fell, the stars appeared above the battlefield. The sounds of war were far now, distant, but Leo's mind was loud. He had spared an enemy. He had broken orders. He didn't even know her name. But something inside told him it was the right choice. Back in the bunker, the alien warrior stared up at the low ceiling. Her body hurt, but her heart beat strong. She had expected death. Instead, she found a strange kind of hope. A human had spared her. She was alive. For the first time in her life, she felt something she had never known on the battlefield. A second chance. Secrets and survival morning lights slipped through the cracks in the bunker ceiling. Dust floated in the air like tiny stars. Leo sat near the entrance, holding his rifle close, watching the outside. He had not slept. His eyes stayed fixed on the shadows. He was alert for any movement. He knew others might come looking for him. For now, the place was quiet. Behind him, the alien warrior stirred. She opened her eyes slowly. Her body ached, but the warmth of the blanket and the silence of the shelter gave her a moment of peace. She turned her head and saw Leo sitting nearby. He looked tired but strong. He had not left her. That meant something. She tried to sit up, but pain shot through her side. She let out a small sound. Leo turned quickly and rushed to her. "You need to rest," he said. His voice was calm but firm. "I'm fine," she replied, but her face showed the truth. Leo opened a small pouch and pulled out a water container. He held it out to her. She took it with shaky hands and drank slowly. "What's your name?" Leo asked. The alien paused for a second, as if unsure how to answer. "You can call me Raya," she said. "Raya," Leo repeated. The name felt strange in his mouth, but not in a bad way. He handed her a piece of dried ration bread. She accepted it without a word. They sat in silence as she ate. "You saved me," she said after a while, "even when you had no reason to." Leo didn't answer right away. He looked at her carefully. "I didn't save you," he said. "I just didn't kill you." "That's more than I expected from any human," she replied. Leo stood and looked toward the entrance again. "You don't talk like the others," he said. "The ones I fought never spoke. They only attacked. No fear, no surrender." Raya nodded slowly. "They are trained that way. Our leaders teach us that humans are dangerous. That showing weakness is death, but not all of us believe that." Leo turned back to her. "So why did you fight if you didn't believe it?" She looked down at her hands. "I had no choice," she said. "My people forced me. I trained since childhood. I never knew peace. Only orders, only war." Leo sat down across from her. "That's not so different from our side," he said. Raya looked at him with curious eyes. "You were forced too?" Leo shrugged. "Not forced maybe, but expected. My father was a soldier. My brother too. I joined because it felt right. But after years of this, I wonder if it was ever right at all." Silence returned for a moment, but it was no longer heavy. Outside, the sky changed from pink to gold. The wind picked up. Smoke from nearby wrecks drifted in the air. Leo stood and began to gather his gear. "We can't stay here long," he said. "Scouts might come, patrols too. Where will we go?" Raya asked. Leo looked at her. "Somewhere safe. Somewhere no one looks. I don't know yet. But we move tonight." Raya nodded. She didn't question his lead. As the day passed, Raya's strength returned slowly. She cleaned her wounds using water Leo found from a nearby stream. She wrapped her side with cloth torn from her suit. Leo shared what little food he had left. They ate together without fear. For the first time, they were not enemies. In the afternoon, Raya pulled a small device from her broken armor. It blinked softly. "What is that?" Leo asked, stepping closer. "A tracker," Raya said. "But it's broken. I can turn it into a signal blocker. It might hide us from drones. You know how to do that?" Raya gave a small smile. "I know many things. You think we are just fighters. But we learn technology too. Science. Strategy." Leo handed her a small toolkit he kept in his pack. Raya bent over the device and began to work. Her fingers moved fast and carefully. Leo watched her, surprised by her skill. After an hour, she handed it to him. "It should keep us hidden for now, but only if they don't come too close." Leo placed the device at the top of the bunker entrance. It blinked once, then stayed dark. "Thank you," he said. Raya nodded. "You saved me. I help you now." That evening, they packed what little they had. Rhea still walked slow, but she refused to be carried. They moved through the shadows, staying low, using broken walls and ruined ships as cover. Rhea led the way now, guiding Leo through paths he didn't know. She warned him of hidden mines, of trip lines only her people could see. At one point, a human patrol passed close. Leo pressed against the wall, holding his breath. Rhea pulled him behind a pile of rubble, just in time. A drone flew overhead, but the signal blocker held. When the danger passed, Leo looked at her with new eyes. "You just saved me," he said. "Now we're even," she replied with a quiet smile. They walked through the night, two soldiers from different worlds. They had nothing in common but fear, pain, and a deep tiredness in their souls. Yet somehow, that was enough. By dawn, they found shelter in an old transport station. It was half buried under sand, but still safe. Leo collapsed onto the floor, eyes closing at last. Rhea sat beside him, watching him sleep. In her heart, a question rose. Was this still survival? Or was it something else now? Hunted by both sides, the wind howled through the broken windows of the old transport station. Dust covered the floor like a thin blanket. Machines lay dead in every corner. No light came from the ceiling. Silence filled the air except for the soft breath of two survivors hidden in the shadows. Leo woke up slowly. His back hurt from sleeping on cold metal. He looked around and saw Rhea sitting by the wall with her eyes closed. She was not asleep, she was listening. Her hand rested near a sharp piece of broken steel. Her body stayed still like a statue. He stood up quietly and stretched his arms. Rhea opened her eyes and gave a small nod. "Any movement outside?" he asked. "None so far," she replied. Leo walked to the door and peeked through the crack. The sky was gray. Ash floated in the air. The wind carried the smell of fire. He saw no patrols, but that didn't mean they were safe. He turned back to Rhea and sat beside her. "We can't stay here long," he said. "I know," she answered. "They will find us, one side or the other." Leo ran a hand through his hair. "Yeah, we're both wanted now." Rhea looked at him with calm eyes. "You broke your orders. You protected the enemy. That makes you a traitor to your people." Leo didn't speak. He knew it was true. "And I helped a human," Rhea said. "That makes me a traitor to mine." They both sat in silence. Two soldiers without a side. Two lives caught between duty and choice. After a while, Leo stood and walked toward a broken console. He touched the buttons, but nothing worked. He opened a small box under the panel and found an old data chip. He showed it to Rhea. "Can you read this?" She took it from his hand and studied it. "Yes," she said. "I need a working port. Maybe from the shipwreck nearby." Leo remembered the broken cargo hauler they passed last night. It was dangerous to go back, but they needed information. They needed a map, a signal, anything. "I'll go." "Check it out," he said. "I'm coming too," she replied. "You're still healing. I move better now." "You need someone who knows alien tech." "I do." They argued for a short time, but Leo knew she was right. They packed quickly and left the station. They reached the hauler as the sun began to rise. The metal shell was split open like a cracked egg. Wires hung from the ceiling. The control deck was still in place but badly damaged. Rhea climbed into the seat and inserted the chip. She adjusted the wires with steady hands. Sparks flew once. Then the screen blinked to life. A weak signal appeared. She worked fast, pulling up maps, codes, and hidden supply points. Leo watched her work. He was impressed again by her skill. She looked strong when she focused, not like a warrior, more like an engineer. Suddenly the screen flashed red. "Motion detected," she said. Leo looked out the window. 3 figures moved in the distance. Human armor, weapons raised. "They found US," he said. Rhea pulled the chip out and slid it into her pouch. "Move now," she said. They ran through the wreck, out the back into the hills. Blaster fire hit the ground behind them. Leo fired back once to slow the soldiers. He didn't want to hurt them, but they didn't hesitate to shoot. They reached a dry cave and ducked inside. Their hearts raced. Their bodies dripped with sweat. Raya leaned against the wall and took deep breaths. How did they find us? Leo asked. Your side tracks armor signals. Your tag still broadcasts. Leo cursed under his breath. He pulled off the shoulder tag and smashed it with a rock. We're both targets now. I didn't think it would come to this, he said. Raya placed a hand on his shoulder. You still have a choice. You can turn me in. Say I forced you. They might believe you. Leo looked at her with sharp eyes. I made my choice when I carried you out of that rubble. I won't take it back. She stared at him for a long time. No words passed between them, but something unspoken grew stronger. A bond that was no longer about war or survival. Something more human. That night they rested in the cave. Raya studied the map from the chip and pointed to a hidden supply base deep in the wastelands. If we reach this point, we can find shelter, food, maybe even a signal to leave this planet. Leo nodded. We move at dawn. Before sleep took them, Raya asked a question. Do you still see me as the enemy? Leo looked at the stars through the cave roof. No, he said. Not anymore. And for the first time since the war began, Raya closed her eyes without fear. The betrayal and the escape. The sky was dark when Leo and Raya started walking again. The cold air bit at their skin. Wind blew dust across the rocks. Their path led them through narrow hills and dry rivers. Every sound made them stop and listen. Every shadow looked like danger, but they kept moving, step after step. One goal in mind, they followed the map Raya had taken from the wreck. She remembered the old signals, the hidden trails, the markers left by soldiers long gone. Leo walked beside her without complaint. He trusted her now more than any voice in his radio. By noon they reached a sharp cliff. Below it, hidden by rocks, stood a small bunker half buried under earth. Raya smiled faintly. This is the place, she said. Leo scanned the area. No movement, no signs of life. He led the way down carefully. They entered through a narrow tunnel. The door opened with a soft hiss. Inside, stale air and old light greeted them. The bunker still worked. Machines hummed low. Old food packs lay in drawers. Clean water flowed from a cracked pipe. For a moment, the two of them felt peace. They took turns cleaning up. Leo changed into lighter gear. Raya wrapped her wound again. She used a medkit they found in a cabinet. After resting, Leo sat at a console and turned on the signal unit. A weak connection blinked alive. If I boost this signal, someone might hear it, he said. Good or bad? Raya asked. Could be both, he said with a sigh. He began working on the signal. Raya watched him, her eyes soft, thoughtful. You've changed since the battlefield, she said. So have you, he replied without looking up. She sat beside him. Why do you trust me? Leo paused. He thought about the question. You didn't leave when you could. You saved me more than once. You talk like a soldier, but you care like a person. That's enough. Raya turned her head away. She didn't want him to see her eyes. Later that night, while Leo slept, Raya stood near the entrance. Her mind was heavy. She thought of her people, her past, her choices, her failure to return. They would call her a traitor. Then she heard a sound, a soft beep. She ran back to the console. A message blinked on the screen, unknown signal locked. Response inbound. Her heart dropped. She tried to turn it off, but the signal had already gone out. She woke Leo at once. He read the screen and stood up fast. We need to leave, he said. It was too late. The ground above them shook. A blast rocked the walls. Dust fell from the ceiling. Lights flickered. They found us, Leo shouted. They grabbed their gear and ran toward the exit. A second blast shook the floor. The door cracked open. Human soldiers entered. Leo stepped in front of Raya, weapon ready. "Don't move," the voice said. "Drop your gear, hands up." Leo hesitated. Raya placed a hand on his arm. "No use," she said. They were forced to their knees. Metal cuffs locked their hands. Soldiers dragged them outside. A tall officer stood waiting, his eyes cold, his voice sharper than steel. "Leo, you were one of our best. Now look at you. Hiding with the enemy." Leo said nothing. "And this one," the officer continued, looking at Raya. "An alien spy hiding behind false mercy. Both of you will answer for this." They were taken to a base near the hills, small, hidden, full of armed men. Leo was locked in a cell. Raya in another. Hours passed. No light, no food, no voices. Then a familiar voice came in the dark. "I told you we'd be hunted by both sides." Leo smiled slightly. "I didn't think it would happen this fast." From across the wall, Raya's voice was calm. "They won't keep us long, not if I have a plan." Leo leaned closer. "What plan?" "I've been listening," she said. "There's a weak spot in the hallway guards. One leaves for 15 seconds every turn, if we time it right." Leo understood at once. "When do we move?" "Now," she said. A few moments later, they acted. Raya broke the small light on her cell wall. Using her boot, the spark hit the floor and triggered a smoke sensor. Sirens began to ring. Guards ran in confusion. Raya used a thin wire she had hidden in her sleeve to unlock her door. She reached Leo in seconds. They moved through the halls. Like shadows, one soldier tried to stop them. Raya knocked him down with a single hit. They reached the outer gate. Leo grabbed a stun grenade from the armory shelf. "Cover your ears," he warned. The flash knocked out the nearby guards. They ran into the open. A small ship stood nearby, unused. UNWATC ED. Leo jumped into the pilot seat. Raya started the engines. They lifted off just as more soldiers ran out of the base. The sky turned bright as they broke through the clouds. Inside the ship, Raya leaned against the wall, breathing hard. Blood dripped from a fresh cut on her arm. Leo turned and looked at her. "You okay?" "I will be," she said. She smiled through the pain. "You didn't have to come back for me," Leo said. "You didn't have to save me either," she replied. They sat in silence, the stars slowly filling the window. Both of them knew the road ahead was still unknown. But for now, they were free. A new world, a new purpose. The stars outside the ship stretched like lines across the black sky. The engines hummed softly as the ship moved through the cold silence of space. Inside, Leo sat at the control panel, guiding their path with tired eyes. His hands moved slowly, steady and calm, though his body ached with exhaustion. Raya sat across from him, her arm wrapped in bandages, her eyes half closed as she watched the lights of the galaxy slip past them. They had escaped. Somehow, through fire and metal and betrayal, they had made it out alive. Now they drifted through space with no plan, no map, only hope. Leo checked the scanner and leaned back in his seat. "There's a colony not far," he said. "It's small, remote, maybe a place to hide. Maybe even start over." Raya looked at him, her voice quiet but firm. "If we land there, do we stop running?" Leo paused before answering. "I don't know," he said. "But we won't survive always looking over our shoulders." Raya nodded slowly. She looked out the window again. She thought about the war, the orders, the lives lost. She thought about how close she had come to dying on the battlefield, how close she had come to killing him. "You changed me," she said after a moment. "I was raised to hate your kind. I was trained to see you as nothing but an enemy. But I saw your pain. I saw your kindness. You gave me something I never had." Leo turned to her. "What was that?" A choice, she said. The ship landed softly on a quiet planet, far from war zones and command centers. The colony was small, built near a lake surrounded by tall trees. The people there did not ask many questions. They welcomed strangers as long as they worked and caused no trouble. Leo found work fixing machines. He had always been good with his hands. He repaired broken tools, upgraded old systems, and helped build small energy units. The people came to respect him for his skill and patience. Raya helped patrol the edges of the colony. At first, some feared her. They saw her silver skin and strange eyes and remembered stories of the war, but she never raised her voice. She never drew her weapon unless danger came near. Slowly, people began to accept her. Some even came to her for help when they needed protection. Weeks passed, then months. The seasons changed. The war in the sky became a memory. Messages from the outer system spoke of peace talks, of armies retreating, of leaders surrendering. The galaxy had begun to heal. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the trees, Leo sat by the lake with a small tool in his hands. He was carving a piece of metal into the shape of a bird. Raya sat beside him, her legs crossed, her eyes on the water. "Do you ever miss it?" she asked. "Miss what?" "The war, the duty, the purpose it gave." Leo shook his head slowly. "I miss my team, the ones I lost. But not the fighting, not the fear." Raya pulled a small stone from her pocket. She turned it in her fingers, thinking. "I used to think service meant obeying without question. Now I see. It can mean something else." Leo looked at her. "Like what?" "Like helping people who need you. Like protecting what's good. Like building, not destroying." He smiled. "You're not my prisoner anymore. You're not my enemy either." She looked into his eyes. "I never wanted to be either of those. I just didn't know I had another path." They sat in silence for a long time. The stars began to appear in the sky above. Later that night, they walked back to the colony. The lights from the homes glowed warm. Children played near the gardens. Music floated softly from one of the houses. Raya stopped and looked around. "This is peace," she said. Leo nodded. "It is, and we're part of it now." Raya turned to him and smiled. "I told you once that I would serve you however you wished, but now I walk beside you, not behind you, as an equal." "As a friend," Leo smiled back. "I never wanted a servant. I wanted someone who understood. Someone who believed there was more than just orders and war." "You found that," she said, "in both of us." In the weeks that followed, they helped expand the colony. New travelers arrived, seeking safety and rest. Leo helped build homes. Raya trained young guards to defend without hate. They never spoke much about the war. They didn't need to. The pain remained in small ways, but the peace was stronger. One night, a message arrived through the old COM system. A recording from the human command. A short video leaked to the networks. It showed Leo and Raya escaping together. Her voice, pleading for mercy. His choice to protect her. The video spread across channels. Some called it betrayal. But many saw the truth. Not every enemy was cruel. Not every soldier wanted to fight. Some just wanted to live. The story of Leo and Raya became a quiet legend. A tale whispered in corners of the galaxy where hope was still rare. A reminder that even in war, choices could shape peace. Under the stars of a peaceful world, two once enemies built something better. Not just for themselves, but for all who believed in change. And for the first time in a long, dark galaxy, the sound of silence was no longer fear. It was freedom. The end.